Good evening to all of my subscribers and my viewers, and I would like to thank you for viewing and subscribing to my channel. Um, I would like to thank everyone for all of their phone calls and text messages, uh, just for taking this journey with me. I started this process probably about 8 or 9 months ago, and I've been going strong ever since. There was a lot of things that I was going through in my own life, and I decided to just take that negative energy and put it into something positive to help someone else out. So, like I always say, please take whatever resonates to you. If it doesn't resonate to you, then pass it along to someone else so that they can get something out of it. Um, and let's try to continue to keep helping each other. All right. So my video tonight is uh, this is how I'm getting over it. This is how I'm getting over it. Um, there are uh, different types of things that we go through in life. Some people call it life changing experiences. Some people will call it a hurdle. Um, some people would just say you're going through. Um, and then there's other people who might just say, I'm trying to get over something. Okay. Um, in life, when you're getting through something or you're trying to get over something, the only way you'll be able to do it is if you stay positive. That's what I had to learn for myself. Because if you stay in that negative energy with what's going on with you, the things that are around you will um, get worse for you. You know, whether it be your job, home life, um, church, friends, family. You know, you'll see relationships that you've built over the years that are actually becoming toxic, and it's not the relationship itself, it's the things that you're going through. So the only thing that you know how to do is to try to adapt to the people and things around you while you're going through. And that's what we don't understand sometimes. um, we can bring our problems in to someone else's life by allowing what we're going through to affect those other relationships. And I don't think that people give their self enough time and space when they're going through things. I think that they try to get through it by um, going out, allowing themselves to be around other people while they're going through. Um, some people will do drugs, some people will drink, some people will act out, even sexually. You know what I mean? There are various things that people do to get through things, and sometimes we don't understand why, but they may need to do that. And that's what brings me to some of my points that I'm going to bring up tonight, and examples as well. But you can't tell someone how to heal. You can't tell someone how to get over something. Everybody gets through their process differently than anyone else. Okay. I've seen so many family members and friends in my life that get through things such as death differently the way that I do. You know, I've seen people who get through a broken relationship differently than I do. Um, I've seen people who lose their job and they may take it a little bit harder than I may take it. So it's a different thing for everybody each time around. And only you know what really works for you. You know what I mean? But what I would never do is I would never tell someone how to get over any type of situation, especially if I've never experienced it. For example, a lot of my friends, uh, they don't like death. They don't like to talk about it. They don't like to be around it. Um, they have a hard time adjusting after a loved one or someone close to them actually passes away. Um, and this is why I'm giving this example because it actually happened to me and to them. Okay. When my father died, and it'll be 4 years coming up in September um, for his death. When he died, I don't remember a lot of my, and I call my friends brothers. I've stated that before. I remember a lot of my brothers being there, and I don't think they were. I don't think they were able to come around and to be around me, my siblings, my mom, and then my other family members as well, because my dad was so open. He was so involved in our lives and in a lot of our friends' lives. So, and even in their families. So when the time came for him to pass away and, a funeral and everything, I did not have a lot of my brothers there. They couldn't come. To be perfectly honest, there was only one of my friends and brothers that was actually able to come to the funeral. And I wasn't upset with them. The only thing I probably did get upset about, and if they're watching this video after I do this and I post it up, and I can't lie to you guys, the only thing that I did get upset about is it took a while for a lot of them to come around and to actually be around me, myself, um, myself and my family, as well as my twin brother, because they are his friends too. So I didn't see a lot of them for quite some time, and that bothered me a little bit. As far as the funeral, I had to understand and just cope with the fact that they weren't good with death. They didn't handle death very well. They couldn't see my dad like that. They couldn't even see him on his sick bed. And I totally understand that because they were grieving in different ways. But I do know that they had a lot of respect and love for him. And that's what made me look at the situation a little bit differently. I did not take it to heart to where I said, oh, I don't want to be your friend anymore. I think it was just like, hey, I understand, but just come see me, acknowledge uh, that you um, understand that he did pass away. Um, and even if you can't acknowledge it to me, just acknowledge it to my mom. That was my concern and my thing with my brothers. But after a while, they started coming around again. After a while, they were able to say, okay, it took me a while to get over it and get through it, you know. So that's one example. With death, you can't tell someone how to confront their own personal issue with that situation because death is a very serious emotion that people deal with when they separate from someone that they really love and care about. Okay. For me, the experience is a little bit more different because I have a relationship with God. And what we believe in as Christians and people who are spiritual, we believe that the spirit lives on. So death is not supposed to be a sad thing. It's supposed to be a celebration because the person's not suffering. The person doesn't have to go through any more pain and all of that. Even the troubles of this world, they have escaped that through death. God has given them another life form and spirit realm. So we believe as Christians that death is not supposed to be mourned, it's supposed to be celebrated. And that's why I can get over it a little bit better than some of my friends. Okay, so that's an example. That's something that we can use in life, that you cannot tell someone how to get over death. Um, I mean, I can even go as far as saying that um, my little sister, uh, Megan, she has lost tremendously over the last past 4 years. You know, she didn't just lose my father, she also lost someone close to her, which was a boyfriend of hers as well. And after losing her best friend, which was my father, that was her ace in a hole. That was her daddy. You know, that was the number one man in her life. And after losing him and then losing a love as well, I noticed that she sometimes can go back into that mindset of I'm still hurting. you know this is how I get over it, this is how I'm trying to get through it, and this is how I'm trying to move on. So one of the things we don't always do is we don't continue to bash her for the way that she needs to get through it. Now we will tell her if we feel like um, you're hurting yourself or you're doing something wrong to yourself, and vice versa. That's anybody. I feel like if you feel like they're hurting themselves or they're trying to leave here because of that person, then that's something that you need to address. You understand what I'm saying? So I notice that everybody copes differently when it comes down to death. All right. My next example would be if you did lose a job, you know, um, for me, depending on what type of job it is, if I really like it, um, I probably would feel some type of way. I can give you guys an example. This actually really did happen to me. Um, I had to do an internship probably a year and a half after I graduated college. Um, and the way that they were picking um, people to actually uh, get this position, because there were only 5 positions available. And what this company did was they actually made 10 people compete for these 5 positions that were available. And either you were strong or you wasn't strong. But they would make an elimination, I think, every other week. Um, I remember that I made the first couple of eliminations, and then after that, I didn't make the third um, elimination. Now, for me, I wasn't worried about it as much as someone else who probably took it to heart in that type of situation. The way I got over mine was I was already working another job. So for me, I wanted to pick up another skill, so it wasn't a big deal for me to lose that job, to go somewhere else and to actually make my mark there. Um, that's where I kind of put that negative energy into the positive energy. I just focused on something else. Now, for somebody else, they may not get over it as fast and easily. They may take some time. They may say, "Oh, did I have a fair shot? You know, um, was there something else I could do differently? Is there another way I can start all over and try it all over again?" Stuff like that. For me, I always believe that progression is forward and never backwards. So if I don't make the cut, then I'm the type of person, I don't want to go back that way. I'm going to move forward and try to do something else, and I want to be great at whatever I do. So if I lost a job, 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to go back and beg for another one. That's just me. Okay. But other people are different. They like to do things the hard way, or they may want to keep trying. So you cannot tell someone how to get over that situation because you don't know if that was their first time at rejection in that way. You know, for me, it probably happened before where I can probably get over it faster than someone else. So that's why I say you can't judge someone for how they get over it. As long as they're not hurting you or someone else, then you can't judge it. And I mean physically. Sometimes in a situation, you may get hurt mentally because someone else is hurting. Remember, hurt people hurt people. Okay? I believe if it's not a physical hurt, then you have to let that person vent. As long as it's not too disrespectful. You can't get disrespectful to someone. All right? Relationship. I love talking about relationship because I've had so many different relationships where I've experienced so much over the past 20 years of my life. You know what I mean? So I like using relationships as a very good example because I can give so many examples from my own experience. Okay? Um, and I can take the most recent experience that I went through. Okay? For me, when I got married a second time, there were so many things that I set for myself, and they were not just goals. They were they were important lessons that I learned. So I always told myself that I would never ever go through those things again. All right. So those lessons that I already learned, I had already set those values for myself that I would not go through this in my next marriage. Which brings me to my example. Okay. This is true. This is exactly what happened, and I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. This is what happened to me. Okay. So what happened to me was the way that it was explained to me was there was an argument that me and my previous had, and it caught me by surprise because in my mind, our arguments, even if they escalated into us not speaking to each other for a couple of days or a few days, it even went as far as maybe a week or two. Sometimes, not by my choice, but just because that's how I got used to um, it being with my my significant other at the time. So um I thought that the argument was like a regular argument, but it wasn't. There was something that just a small thing that ended up being a big thing, and then the divorce word came up, and it upset me because I'm like, wait a minute, where did this come from? Something more is coming out of this that I did not even notice. So when that came out, of course, I did uh, go on to social media to express how I was feeling. I felt like at the time that's all I had to vent because I was so closed in about everything else that was going on in my life that no one knew what was going on. I was having these surgeries, and a lot of people didn't even know that I had, fell down the stairs, and I had 4 or 5 back surgeries at the time, and all of that. So when I went to express that this is how I was feeling, that was my way of venting, and a lot of people didn't understand that. It was like, oh, you're attacking. No, I'm not attacking. I'm getting it out. I couldn't get it out with the person that I loved and I cared about, so I decided that that's the way that I wanted to do it. You know, um, which brings me to my next point. Was it right for me to go on social media and to express how I was feeling at that specific time? Probably not. But again, You cannot tell someone how to get over something. I very well could have gotten over that situation in other ways. That type of situation could have de escalated into an argument that ended up in a fight. It could have ended up where someone could have gotten hurt. I could have hurt myself, or I could have hurt the other person. You don't know where your mindset will be when someone says something like that to you, so you can't tell somebody how to get over it. I didn't understand that. I had some of her family members that said things like, oh, Kenton was warned about social media. Okay, well, in my mind, I was like, did you warn your family member that she should not always use uh, divorce or use police to control someone? That was my thing, because I didn't really get off until I noticed that the cops were being called on me. So for every action, there's a reaction. You called the cops, I went on social media. That's how you got over it, because you wanted me out of the house. And instead of saying, coming to me saying, we need a break, we need to get over it this way, or I need some time or something like that, that wasn't done. It was immediately, I'm going to attack you by trying to control the situation and calling the cops. So when the cops were called, I was like, I gotta defend myself. Now I have to expose you, because this is not the first time that this actually happened. And I felt like it wasn't going to be the last time. You know what I mean? So when the question came up to Kenton about why did you do that, you know what I told someone? I said, because now it's out in the open. It'll never happen again to me. I don't know if it'll happen to someone else, but it'll never happen to me again, because now it's exposed. Sometimes when you keep things in and you don't expose it, it keeps happening over and over again. And I think that for some people, what they don't really understand and what they don't realize is that you can't do stuff that you do to someone else and think that it's going to ride. Someone else may not allow you to get over that situation the way that the other person did. So for me, I said to myself, I have to do this for me. I have to take a stand. You know, at the time, I didn't look at it like it would hurt the other person, and they kind of felt like, oh, you're bashing me. That's emotional, or no, that was mental abuse, is what she called it. I don't look at that as mental abuse. I look at it as you did something, so that's my reaction. You said that I did some things, so that was your reaction. I did not get mad at the fact of how she reacted at all. I got mad at the way she did it. Everybody has their own way of getting over things and getting through things, but it's a way that you have to do everything. And that's what I'm learning in life. As I get older, I'm learning that there's different ways that you have to go about doing things before you actually do it, or you're going to hurt yourself or someone else. So when I went back and I actually thought about it, I said to myself, there was a better way that we both could have handled it, but now it's done. The good thing about it is it's out in the open, so I don't think that it will ever happen to neither one of us ever again. The bad part about it is I got penalized because of how I was trying to heal, how I am healing. I got penalized because of it. I got penalized in so many different ways, and a lot of it had to do with just being isolated. I got ghosted because I'm trying to heal the best way I know how, and you're upset about it when this is what you want. You are able to call the shots. So when you do something in life, people, you cannot tell someone else how to get over their situation. You have to be able to accept what you did wrong. only you can fix that situation with that person. Only you can fix that situation within yourself and say, hey, I need to acknowledge why that person went this way. I need to acknowledge what really went wrong in this situation and why we really are where we are right now. Because there were so many things I had to think about, like how did we get here 3 weeks ago? Prior to all of that, we had celebrated our anniversary. At the time, our 2 year anniversary. So when that happened, I said, wow, how do you celebrate your 2 year anniversary and now you're saying divorce? There were so many other things that came out that now I understand versus then I did not understand, you know? So I got over it by doing this. This was one of my ways of getting over it. This was one of my ways that I had to take to heal, was by sharing my journey and everything that I went through with you guys. I said to myself that instead of going crazy or doing something to someone else and, acting out in a way that a person normally would in that type of situation, I just went another way. I used it for my advantage to help someone else out. And I get that now. Like I get phone calls and text messages from people saying, you're making me think before I react to certain situations, before I get myself in a bad situation that I can't get myself out of. By seeing what you went through, I'm able to do it a different way. So that makes me feel a lot better to know that, if I'm hurting someone because I'm putting my personal issues out on social media in a positive way, but I'm helping a lot of people. If I'm hurting someone, it's not on purpose. I would never ever do anything to hurt anyone intentionally because I'm not that type of person. It's never been intentional. Now, has there been some intentional things done to me throughout all of this? Yes. There's a lot of things that I've never stated on here to you guys because I feel like if I state it, it definitely will hurt a whole lot more uh, in the situation. It really will. So I don't state a lot of things. There's things that I still keep that are very discreet because I know that it would hurt the situation even more. What I had to remember is not only am I trying to heal, but there's still a family here that's wounded. Um, I have girls in the situation. I have a little one that is really hurting in this situation that I try to see as much as possible. The communication really stinks right now. So it's so much that goes along with this situation that if I aired anything else, it probably would get worse before it gets better. So I just decided to take bits and pieces, but not the whole thing. I always say that that's things that need to be addressed with just her and myself. When the time comes, it'll happen. So that's the relationship side. When you hurt someone, if that person is venting in a way that they are trying to vent to get over it, please know that they are not intentionally trying to hurt you per se, but only if they're doing it in a positive way. My situation, I just decided to flip mine and do it in a positive way instead of in a negative way to help someone else out. Now, there's a lot of people that probably won't do it the way that I do it. I get a lot of people saying that if I was in your situation and I've been through some of the things you've been through, physically and mentally, I probably would have snapped out. A lot of people say, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? Or you could have said this, you could have said that. And I just be like, why? Why? Why go that way? I'm bigger than that. You know, one of the most important things I learned throughout all of this was self-worth and self-healing. So in knowing my self-worth, and because I self-healed, I know that I don't even have to take it there. You know, there is a higher power that I allow to deal with those type of issues, where I don't really even have to say anything. I sit back now. Do I still does do things still bother me? Yes, it does. You know, do I worry a lot of the times? I do, per se, because like I said, the communication is still off. But now I'm in a place where I just put my hands up and said, it's going to be, it's going to be. If it's not, it's not. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen. That's what I had to tell myself. So if there's a day where I don't get a chance to talk to my youngest, I have to look at it like, okay, if there's a few weeks or a couple weeks that go by and I don't get a chance to see her, not my fault. I've tried. I've been told that the only place I can see her is in the school. So I don't think that's right, but I go along with it. As long as I'm connecting with her, that's the most important thing to me. So the only thing I can say to my viewers and subscribers is strive to do whatever you need to do to heal. Strive to do it in a positive way. Allow yourself to do something different than everybody else is doing. I don't care how you got to heal and what you have to heal from. Do it in a positive way. Take all of that negative energy and put some positive in it. And I guarantee you'll see it for the better. You'll be able to get through it better. You'll be able to get over it better. You'll be able to actually see that it's not as bad as you thought it would be if you went the other way. Okay? We're going to talk a little bit more about all this stuff, man. I really appreciate y'all for real, for taking this journey with me. Like I said, it's getting better for me. And I really appreciate the phone calls and the text messages. Continue to keep subscribing and viewing. Pass these videos on. I will be posting again next week. So I hope y'all like this, man. Hit me up, put some comments on there, definitely tell me something. I want to take at least another minute or so to give a couple shout out to my steady viewers. One is my brother and friend, cousin, whatever, Mark and Marvin. I could say two, Mark and Marvin McGurn, the McGurn twins. Thank you guys for definitely viewing and hit me up, let me know that you guys love these videos. I really do appreciate it. To my brother Brian, my sidekick, what we call ourselves, the bad boys. Thank you, bro. I really do appreciate you viewing and subscribing to my channel. Let's see. I have a friend. Her name is Rhonda, and I want to thank her for viewing and subscribing to my channel. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. She is one of my frequent viewers. And just any of my family members who have subscribed to my channel, thank you so much for subscribing. I really do appreciate it. Continue to keep on. Let's make this a positive thing that we continue to keep doing throughout the years, and hopefully everybody eventually will get something out of it. So I just wanted to take the time to thank a few of you guys for being consistent. But keep throwing your comments up there. I love y'all. I will be posting again next week. God bless.